Well, it is a dispute that has become all too familiar here in Maine. Who has the right to do what on a beach that adjoins private property?
This time around, however, a majority of the beach in question is state-owned and run. News Center Maine's Raya Wooten tells us about the signs and barriers that recently went up on the western end of Crescent Beach in Cape Elizabeth.
There is some confusion about which parts of the coastline are considered private property and which parts of the coastal shoreline are safe to use. But Mainers who regularly use the coastline say that one thing that is clear is that fishing in intertidal zones is legal.
It's an illegal sign was the first thing I thought.
Private property, hunting, fishing, trapping, or trespassing for any reason is strictly forbidden. That's what this sign read Monday before it was ripped away from its wooden post Tuesday. Small corners of the sign and the fencing behind it are all that is left.
If you take a look at that sign, you look at the bottom of on the ground, it's clear that water has washed over that section of the beach. And in Maine, it is legal. Fishing, fouling, and navigation are legal on all beaches and all intertidal lands.
Fishing between the low tide mark and the high tide mark on coastlines has always been fair game, Mark Robinson says. He believes the sign and the fencing were intentionally put up to do one thing.
But if you put up a sign, you put up a fence going down to the water, it's meant for one thing only, and that's to intimidate people.
Cape Elizabeth's Assistant Code Enforcement Officer, Jake Deslandes, says the sign was brought to his attention Monday. Although the town doesn't interpret private property lines, even he says fishing in intertidal zones is allowed.
Things like this typically are just a concerned property owner that wants to protect their land.
That property owner is the Sprague Corporation. The corporation leases 100 acres of the beach to the state for public use, and the rest is considered private property. The president of the corporation, Claudia Richards, says they comply with state law, but she could not say for sure whether the sign belongs to them.
You can just imagine Crescent Beach. You'll have beachgoers walking toward that area. They'll come to the fence and say, I guess we got to turn around. They don't know the law.
Community members tell me that regardless of who put up the sign and the fencing, they feel that the public should have access to the ocean. In Cape Elizabeth, Raya Wooten, News Center, Maine.
The president of the Sprague Corporation, Claudia Richards, says they plan to have a property manager go out to the location to determine whether the sign was posted by them.